Have you heard of juiced baseballs? Well, here's how it works inside Major League Baseball. You've got the commissioner, and his name is Rob Manfred. You have a bunch of very smart people, and they also read media because the PR department, led by Pat Courtney, they give clips to everybody. Clips are like articles. They literally print out clips and email them and give them to be read. Well, there's been a lot of talk in the last season about juiced balls. The pitchers, just outright led by Justin Verlander, complained that for whatever reason, home runs were flying out of baseball parks as though the big league players were juiced again. It reminded them of the steroid days. Anytime MLB hears steroids, they go into a complete panic, almost like rigor mortis sets in, and they go to their knee-jerk reaction, which is, let's commission a study. So MLB hired a bunch of scientists and doctors to study the ball and figure out whether or not, in fact, the ball was juiced. Now, the funny part is this is the second time in about 5 years that they've commissioned such a study. But what was interesting is they decided to release the study now. And don't think that's an accident. Any study that's released by Major League Baseball, we plan the exact day, the exact moment, and to the exact reporter, we're going to leak the story, and then when we are going to give the full story out to the whole media. It is completely calculated. And the study's not a surprise to us. We see the study first, we read the study, we decide whether we agree with it, we come up with PR statements and thoughts, we come up with an announcement, we tell the scientists and the doctors what to say. It becomes a completely manufactured event, as it should be. It's not just baseball, folks. Football, you think they don't know the results when they do internal investigations before they announce it? Of course they do. So MLB did this study because they needed to prove that they were not juicing the balls. And of course, people around the sport who are sort of fans and just sort of interested in a juicy story, they think, what does it mean to have a juiced baseball? Do you actually take a syringe and put a syringe into a baseball and fill it with steroids? Like, can you imagine Barry Bonds just sitting there putting syringes into baseballs day after day, baseball after baseball? No, I can't. That's not what it actually means. A juiced baseball is a baseball that simply is different than previous year's baseballs, and for whatever reason, the baseball does not have as much drag, therefore it flies out of the park more. Well, the scientists discovered that in fact, and this is coming from the 27-page study, in fact, 60% of the reason of the increased home runs was because of the drag. But 40%, this is outstanding, 40% of the increase in home runs is because players using a different approach to hitting, meaning they were using launch angle, meaning they were studying how to swing, get down on the knob, and swing out of their tush and hit it out of the park because that's how they get paid. Are you supposed to believe that? I don't, and here's why. I spoke to Major League pitchers, and it is contained in this study. The seams on the balls were different this year. They felt different. And pitchers pitch by feel. The way they get movement on the ball, the way they get spin is all through seams. And if you screw with the seams, you have changed everything about the ball. How it gets pitched, how it gets hit, and how it flies through the air. Is it possible MLB and Rawlings had no idea that the seams were different? All they had to do was ask a player, any player, a former player, anybody to hold the baseball that was used this year, and they would have been told immediately there's something wrong with the seams. So when there's something wrong with the seams, could they have fixed it quickly enough? Did they fix it in time for the postseason when there are rumors that the balls were no longer juiced? When the amount of home runs completely decreased? Were the seams thinner? If you ask the pitchers, they would tell you the balls felt different. The question is, what will they do next year? And my answer is the balls will stay the same. No juice, heavy on the seam.